You know, if I often say this at the beginning of class, and I don't mean it in a sarcastic or facetious way, I say, you know, if you leave this class, this semester, and you understand that, you know, ideas can be synthesized and, you know, moved forward with your own thinking, that we can, as academics, can add something to that conversation, and we can figure out how to put that down on paper clearly and organize it, you know, in a clear way, and say something important about it, I will be so happy. Like, I will be over the moon, you know. I mean, that for me is the basic goal.
But learning really how to focus more on the substance of a paper than the form. Things like, when do we cite? What is the point of citing? And who has ownership of knowledge? Some of the more meaty questions than what they would have had in high school, I think. And my fear is that sometimes, and I think this is true in nursing, we get more focused on the form of the paper. What is the AAPA format? Where does the comma go? Than the spirit of, when do you cite? You know, what's the point of a reference? When is it something that you've extrapolated and it's okay to put it in your own words and not cite it? And there was another piece I was thinking, audience is the piece that I'm not sure is being taught. I'd love to hear it is, but it's an area where I don't think students come in demonstrating mastery of it.
The more difficult task really is helping them understand how to judge information, as Pam mentioned, and know when to cite as opposed to how to cite, which is really a formula.
Or how to do it gracefully, or how to synthesize
or how to integrate it into the syntax of a sentence.
I would assume that in English 110 they're getting, once again, a refresher or maybe just of the grammar and style and where punctuation and all that goes. But then also probably learning how to write a formal paper, but learn how to form an argument, learn how to actually get their idea across. And that's there's two things that I think are an issue. So one of them is knowing, I think, once again, with Pamela says, knowing when it's okay to just put your own thoughts in the paper. I really push them hard to think their own thoughts. You know, referencing is fine, and I think that's really good, and they have to learn how to do citations and do them properly. But it's more of when to use them and when not to use them, when it's okay. And I think what I see is that they don't have confidence in their own thoughts. I see them very unsure of when it's okay to say what I think.
I tell them that it's okay to feel nervous about putting yourself out on a limb. A lot of them, I've noticed, even in their syntax, retreat from making any kind of declarative statement. They hide behind, it is my opinion that, or I think, or, you know, and I have to sort of remind them, it's your paper, it's your assertions. You can say, you know, the biggest crisis facing American youth today is, you know, easy access to drugs. And you don't have to say, I think that, or, you know, after giving it a lot of deliberation, I've come to the conclusion that, because to make an argument is scary. An argument means that somebody can disagree with you. An argument is not, there are pros and cons to legalizing marijuana. You know, to actually come out and make a stand is scary, but that's the nature of so much of college writing.
There's even been just little like 2-page essays where I ended up writing something entirely contrary to like the premise of the essay, and I got it back with an A on it because it was well thought out, and even though it was completely against everything the professor had said, like they acknowledged it as like relevant and a real thing and not just a nothing that was against the idea. And I'm really proud of those too, just because it is like you said, the self-expression, having part of yourself in there and going, no, I disagree, but here's why, and being able to say that intelligently.
So I see them twice, which is really good. And I can see them mature, but I still don't see the confidence in the writing. I see the confidence in the thinking, but I don't see it in the writing.
How can you tell the difference? How can you tell that those things aren't matching up?
I can tell because of what they say, how they act in class, how they answer questions, how they have discussions. All that's fine. When I ask them to write a formal paper, then they go they lose their confidence. They're okay to say it in a discussion, and they're great to say it in class, and they feel good about it. I can just see they have a lot more confidence. But when they have to write it down, they start to hesitate. And then I don't. It's obviously it's an improvement from one year to the next, but I still don't see the confidence. Quite frankly, I don't see it in graduate students. But that's a whole other story. But I don't even see it there. And so I just that's the thing that I would like to see, that build beyond 110, but build, because I have them do a literature review and in the research course, and it's 3 articles. It's a very teeny weeny little microcosm, but putting those ideas in and synthesizing into something new, and then answering questions that don't need references. They are very scared to do that.
I had to write a paper on, it was for History of Christianity. It was about Martin Luther posting the 95 Theses on the door at the University of Wittenberg. And that was probably my favorite paper that I've ever written, because I decided that I was just going to do what I wanted with it. So like I made it fun to read, you know, like I could have, you know, just given all facts and told the story like I got it from Tumen during lecture, you know, or I could make a completely different scenario but intersperse facts, you know.
Okay.
So I was making jokes that Martin Luther sat down on his iBook G4 and typed in Comic Sans font on a Word document his 95 Theses, but you know, so there were aspects that weren't real, but there were aspects that were completely factual, and Tumen told me that he really liked it, and he let his wife read it, and he was like surprised at how much actual information I was able to get into this pointless nonsense and dribble, and I didn't get any points off. I got 100%, and it might still be on the fridge at my parents' house right now, because my mom thought it was so hilarious, and she's like, "How did you get an A on this? This is not even real."